Batman Forever gets trashed constantly, and honestly, I think it's way better than people remember. So today I'm gonna tell you exactly why Batman Forever deserves more respect. All right, so before we get into why I think Batman Forever deserves more respect, I think we have to bring up why Batman Forever gets so much hate in the first place. And to do that, you got to go all the way back to when it came out. Batman Forever came out in 1995, and it came out after Tim Burton's Batman and Batman Returns. Two very good Batman movies, but I think Batman Forever gets so much hate because it's the one that comes after those two. And it's the movie that comes before Batman and Robin, and they are both directed by Joel Schumacher. So because of that, Batman Forever gets lumped in with Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin almost every time. And I know most people will say that they think that Batman and Robin is the worst movie, but a lot of people say that Batman Forever is just as bad because it doesn't have the Tim Burton tone. It's more campy. It's not as dark. There's no Michael Keaton. People don't like Val Kilmer as much as they do like Michael Keaton. And all of those are fair points, but I don't think that's enough to make Batman Forever a bad movie. So if you haven't seen Batman Forever in a hot minute, I'll bring you up to speed. Batman, played by Val Kilmer, is trying to stop Two-Face, who's now played by Tommy Lee Jones. He was played by Billy D. Williams in 89 Batman. And after stopping him, Two-Face teams up with the Riddler, and Bruce Wayne takes on Dick Grayson, who is Robin, played by Chris O'Donnell, because he's dealing with the death of his family from the hands of Two-Face. And all the while having to deal with Chase Meridian, who is a reporter on the tales of Batman. So that's the plot in a nutshell. To give reasons why I enjoyed this movie, to start off with, as far as on a nostalgic level, I got this movie when I was 11 years old, and the only movie that I had that was Batman related was 89 Batman, and I watched it, I liked it, but kid me, when I got this, really latched onto that VHS tape, and I had the toys. I remember the McDonald's line of cups. That McDonald's line of glass cups is still being talked about to this day. Very cool line. They don't make cups like that anymore. I watched this movie so many times because it was the more fun one, in my opinion, of the two Batmans I owned. I liked Jack Nicholson as the Joker, and I liked Michael Keaton as Batman, and I liked Tim Burton's Batman. But as a kid, Batman Forever just felt more fun. So I gravitated towards that one, and I watched this over and over. It just became a really familiar comfort movie for me. I think that Val Kilmer, while was just an okay Batman, I thought he was a strong Bruce Wayne. He was stoic. I thought he was taking the part seriously. I thought Tommy Lee Jones was over the top as Two-Face as a kid, which I liked, but you know, some people think that he was too much like Jack Nicholson's Joker. That's fair, but I still don't think that's enough to make this a bad movie. And my biggest selling point of why I think this is a good movie and better than people give credit for is Jim Carrey, man. If you're from a certain era, Jim Carrey was a comedic god. And when this came out, he was literally in the thick of just his meteoric rise. He had done Ace Ventura. He had done The Mask. I'm not sure I don't think Dumb and Dumber was out yet, but they all came out at the same time. Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber. He was untouchable at this point. He was on top of the world. So I think that he is the number one reason why this movie holds up. You watch this movie, whether you think he's doing a good job or not as the Riddler, he's entertaining. He makes you giggle. He makes you chuckle. He's doing Jim Carrey things. And some people are like, well, we don't want Jim Carrey. We want the Riddler. Well, if you put yourself in that time of him being untouchable, it's just another avenue for him to do his thing. And I thought he did okay. And now he's playing Dr. Robotnik. You can see some of that zany side of him playing Dr. Robotnik in him playing the Riddler all these years ago. And I think because of Jim Carrey is the reason why this thing became a box office hit. It made like $70 million more than Batman Returns. I'm not sure of the exact figure, but I know it made a lot more money than Batman Returns. And I'm not trying to downplay Batman Returns, but I'm just saying that clearly it was a hit in its day. As far as the design of Gotham City and just the style of the movie in general, Tim Burton was still a producer on the movie, so he still had a little bit of involvement. And I think because of that, this is a very bold statement, but I think that Batman Forever was the closest that we saw to a live action version of Batman the Animated Series. Because if you watched Batman the Animated Series, it had a lot of the same tones that Batman Forever had. It had that gothic-y style, but it also had campiness and a little bit over the topness because it was a cartoon. And the Rogues Gallery in Batman the Animated Series was very over the top, just like the Riddler and Two-Face were. And I think that adds to the charm of it. The pacing of the movie is great. The movie's almost 2 hours, and I don't think it drags. Towards the end, maybe a little bit, but up until, I don't even think that, because back to Jim Carrey chewing the scenery, the second Jim Carrey shows up, I'm not saying it was a bad movie before, but he makes this movie. The second Jim Carrey shows up, you're just in for a wild ride. And when he teams up with Tommy Lee Jones, part of the fun of enjoying Batman is the Rogues Gallery, and I enjoy the villains in this one. And I already kind of touched on it, but I think the big part of stigma that it's a bad movie is because it gets lumped in with Batman and Robin. And that's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. But no, that's not as good as this movie. I don't hate Batman and Robin either. I go into Batman and Robin for its campiness, and I go into this one for slightly less campiness. This one feels like a Silver Age comic book brought to life. I mean, if I had a couple of criticisms of this movie, it would be Riddler and Two-Face getting together just seems a little bit rushed. But if you're a fan of comic books, that happens a lot of times with bad guys. They don't explain how they get together. They just get together. Again, when they team up, it's entertaining, man. Robin does seem a little overly emotional. I get that they show his family getting killed by Two-Face, but he's clearly a grown-ass man, but he's acting like a 16-year-old kid in the movie. Maybe Chris O'Donnell was just a little too old to play Robin for what they were trying to say. So he's not my favorite character in this movie, and he's definitely not an ideal choice for Robin for me. The bat belt shots and the butt shots and all of that, could live with him, could live without him, but there's a lot of stylistically that's cool about this movie. But look, man, I'm not trying to say that Batman Forever is a perfect movie. It's loud, it's weird in places. There's certain things that are like, what? But, as a lover of really bad movies, sometimes I've seen way worse movies than Batman Forever. And I think the nostalgic moments in it, I think it being just a really fun movie, especially when you're a kid. The pacing is great. If you're a fan of Batman, you could pop it on right now and it'll be a quick, almost 2 hours. And people forget at the end of the day, not every Batman movie has to be dark and gritty and super, super serious. Sometimes the best Batman, the fun, campy one. And that's why I think that Batman Forever deserves a lot more respect than it gets. But that's all I got, guys. Let me know what you think. Does Batman Forever deserve more respect, or does it deserve exactly the hate that it gets? And if you got a movie that you think deserves more respect, leave a comment below. Hell, maybe I'll make a video about it. But that's it for this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.